Hello and welcome to the Author's Corner. My name is Maurice Bluedorn. I am your host. I'm also the editor in chief of Own It Magazine and Publishing. These lives, streaming from Monday to Friday, these lives are a spinoff. It's our video and visual of the digital magazine Own It. And so that's personal, professional, and business development. And today we are talking everything in regards to publishing, being an author, and what can do to get out there and get themselves visibility. So we're at the part of the year that we are wrapping things up. We're celebrating because it is the holiday season. And then also too, we're celebrating all of our success throughout the year. And then we're also reflecting, do we do well this year? And what do we want to do even better in the coming year? So take a center stage and owning it with me in the Author's Corner is Coach Tiffany. It's Jacqueline Lulu Brown, Pat, and Teresa Palmer. Yes. Ladies, I'm so excited to be here with you this morning. This show is designed to give the authors that are looking on and looking for tips and looking for how do they, that inspiration or that influence to get them excited about the work that they've done, keep them excited about the work that they've done, and also to provide them some, insight on how to visible, current, driven, motivated with the books that they've either published, or to get that author that is sitting on the bench, off the bench and published and into our literary world. And so literacy world. So I'm so excited to have you ladies here with me. Another session of just enlightenment. And so talk to me. I am going to take us, we always go with Teresa, and I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to push her out there and say, Teresa, you are an author. And I'm pretty sure those who have been watching our show all year long know that. But what are those people who are just chiming in? This is their first time. Talk to them about the book you wrote. And again, we're on that theme of reflecting 2024 and projecting into 2025. So Teresa, take it away.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Yes, I am an author. The title of my book is Heal Your Heart from Within. And it actually is a revision of another book that I had written. Back in 2020, my expertise is holistic cardiology. And I worked in a cardiology practice, and I did the holistic piece. It was a traditional cardiology practice. And I was there for many years. And during that time, I tried to bring a holistic approach. And by that, I mean not just a whole being approach, because we always did that in cardiology anyway, but the approach to look at the heart from a perspective of how your heart can help you, how your heart can be your ally. So in 2020, everyone knows that the world went berserk at that point. There was a lot of uncertainty, and my patients needed some guidance. So one of my patients told me, you should write a book. Everything you're telling us should go in a book. Well, that's what I did. And it got published, and it got by Balboa Press. And it got published fairly quickly. It got published in 2020, but then I changed it in 2022 because the publisher wasn't that thrilled with the title at the time, which used the word pandemic, and they assumed that everything would be over very quickly. So they kind of guided me to deal more with a general title, which I did. So in 2022, Balboa Press republished my book called Heal Your Heart from Within. And in it, I give all the tools, all the information, the knowledge that people need to help take care of themselves. And by that, I mean about 70% of illness and disease we do play a part in, whether it be with our diet, with our sleep, with exercise, it doesn't matter. Also, our emotions, our attitude. Fear and anxiety promote stress. Stress plays havoc with our system. It makes all the organs work harder and keeps the body out of balance. A body out of balance is prone to illness and disease. A body in balance is less prone to illness and disease. Doesn't mean that nothing is going to happen to you, go out, get hit by a car. I mean, anything could happen. There are circumstances where it's beyond our control. But for majority of our health, about 70%, things like diabetes, heart disease, all those things, some stomach issues, those are all in our control. So the book really gives the people the knowledge and the tools that they need. And I work a lot with the inner landscape. It's great that we do diet, exercise, sleep. All those things are wonderful. But if your inner landscape isn't the best it could be, the things that you do on the outside, including medication, supplements, don't work as well. And I think that's a piece that we've been missing. That we do a lot of things outside ourselves, but we don't realize that, it's like if the road has potholes in it, you're not going to be able to go as fast down the highway if it's full of potholes and detours than you would if the road was smooth. So keeping your body in balance is keeping that road, so to speak, smooth. And you do that through your emotions. It's scientifically proven. There's research all over the place, all over the web, that shows the positive emotions have an influence on the cells of our body, and they actually help us if we have a predisposition to any kind of health issue, health condition. I hate to use the word illness and disease because that makes it sound like there's nothing you could do, but there's always something you could do to help yourself. So if you have a predisposition, doesn't mean that you have to follow that and get the disease. Just means that if you change your inner landscape with positive emotions, joy, happiness, peace and calm. If you use tools like meditation, if you go inside yourself, and I teach people how to connect to their heart, because I think there's a little bit of fear around the heart. In the medical profession, with heart disease, heart failure, heart arrhythmias, broken heart, okay, your heart could be vulnerable, but that doesn't mean that your heart can't help you. That doesn't stop the heart from doing what it's meant to do as being the power source and the powerhouse of not only our body, but of our mind and of our spirit. So that's why I wrote the book. I actually did it a little bit backwards because if you look at any of the business websites where you do any kind of coaching, they're going to tell you that your book is used as a tool for your business. Unless you wrote Harry Potter, you're not going to make a fortune off of your book. It's mostly used as a tool for business. Well, I kind of did it backwards because I was working in a private practice at the time, but felt that people needed that information. So, from a publicity standpoint, I was a little bit more challenged because then I started to, over that time, I started the past few years, started to develop my own business and work with people more privately. So, if there's a recommendation I could give people, I would say your book is always the tool to do other things, whether it be a business, speaking, anything. So, have those other things or a good idea of those other things in place and then write your book because then you're going to have an easier time in marketing. But if you like a challenge and if you don't always do things as the norm, which I don't, you could always write a book first, pick a topic that you like, something that you're passionate about, and then build a business around that. So either way does work. It's just a matter of how you want to do it. Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. I mean, and when I speak with professionals, um, a lot of times they don't even realize that because of their wealth of experience, just like your wealth of experience, that they have something to offer. Just like you're saying, that the foundation of and principle of own it is to it focuses on self-awareness, and that's exactly what you're talking about here. It's about knowing yourself. A lot of times when we know ourselves, we can help others interact with us more effectively, get more results when we know ourselves. We know how to navigate. So that is so critically important, to know yourself in all, because it impacts all areas of our lives, our health, when we know ourselves, we know, how we could show up. We know when we're out of control. I said the other day I wanted some carrot cake because here in the Dominican Republic they don't celebrate Thanksgiving. And so I said, well, what can I have that can give me a little feeling of Thanksgiving here in the DR? And so I wrote a friend and I said, I really am trying to fight myself from going around the corner because this new spot opened around the corner from me that has carrot cake with cake, like cake that we would normally eat. And so for me, I was just like so excited about this carrot cake. And I had already had, I didn't tell this individual that I'd already had one slice of the day, one carrot cake. And so I wanted to go back, and I know myself. I know myself well enough to know that if I'm on target to lose weight, the one thing I don't want to do is to have cake. I don't want to self sabotage, right? And this individual said to me, listen, have the cake, Marisa, and go to the gym. That's it. Have the cake and go to the gym. But you have to know yourself where you're disciplined and when you're not disciplined. And you have to also know how to discipline yourself to come out of some of the scenarios that you talked about, diabetes, high blood pressure, and all that other stuff requires you to be mature and responsible enough with yourself, your life, your body to regulate. Self-regulation is key too. The more knowledge that we have, and Pastor Durain and I was talking about this in our meeting the other day in regards to the fact that you have to study. You have to, literacy is so important because reading your book now empowers them. There's a difference when you're not reading or getting knowledge, good quality, how do we say it? Tested and proved, valid and reliable, has evidence behind it. When you have level of knowledge, it gives you a level of empowerment. And that level of empowerment gives you discipline because now you know better. You ought to do better. You ought to show up better. And so, I give you kudos, Teresa, because some people, when they have this opportunity, when folks are telling them, write the book, you need to have this in a book. We need to be able to, it's great for us to have you. But how much more transferable and transformational is it for me if I have it in writing and I can go to it whenever I need to when you're not around? So writing books, giving your words of wisdom, with proven evidence. I always speak from my own experience because I know that it happened, right? I don't have to worry about whether somebody told me this, if this was a practice or is it practice and in evidence in practice, or is it theory only, right? We have no idea that the results are going to be real. So I'm going to digress. Self-awareness is so, so important. And it's so, so important that if you keep getting that unction in your spirit, if it keeps coming up to write it, to publish it, trust your instincts. And I believe that we talked about that. And Teresa, you, I think, really hit on that yesterday in It's Your Life, Own It. You talked about instinct. You talked about trusting your intuition and trusting yourself. That was the biggest thing that you said yesterday. Trust yourself because there's something that happens internally that is meant for us to do, and we have to trust that. And so I'm going to go over to Tiffany. Tiffany, talk to us. You have a project that's underway right now that's incredible, and it's timely. We need to not talk about the negative things or bad behavior. We need to talk about how you self-regulate, right? How do you self-regulate? How do you self-talk yourself off the cliff? So talk about your project, Tiffany. I'm not going to give it away.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And Marisa, thank you so much for having me. Wow, this project is just absolutely amazing. This is actually my, eighth, ninth project. We've got three others that are already published. So this one is called Unsnapped. And you just said it, Marisa. You're always hearing about all the bad stuff and all the craziness out there. And we really wanted to capture how you could actually be better in life. Okay, you see people snapping all the time, you see people going off, right? And we even have a show called Snap out there, okay, that show bad behavior. So we decided to do a book called Unsnapped. And Unsnapped, it's an acronym. It's a long acronym, but it's a very powerful acronym. It means understanding necessary solutions needed to apply positive principles, ending destruction. What is it that you do to stay calm, cool, and collected in the chaos? Right? And Teresa always tells us that chaos means opportunity. So, what is the opportunity that you're going to take in a situation that is taking you to the brink of wanting to, I'm going to say, choke somebody out? But something, whether it be your grandmama in your ear saying, baby, don't you do that. The Lord putting his hand on your shoulder, hey, son, daughter, whatever that is, if it's meditation, whatever that is, we have some really powerful individuals that are sharing how they have been able to just stay calm. And I invite others to, join us as well. Still on this project, we are still open to a few other authors. If you want to come and share your story, I am the anthology queen. I will say that. I have 3 other anthologies. This one actually is 2. We've got a men's and a women's version because you know what, we all have a little bit of a different process of thinking. Women I think are a little more, we can be a little more soft, a little more emotional on things, and men can be very, strategic and very just, so it's going to be very interesting to I've already read some of these stories, and these stories are magnificent, so it's going to be very interesting to see these stories. The other stories are the Becoming a Girl Powerhouse, which are 45 women sharing their stories from trauma to triumph. Now, when you're in an anthology, you have a tribe behind you that is going to push you until you get to the finish line. You're going to be able to talk through some things. You've got accountability right there with you. And that's what I've created in I call them our anthology projects, because they're months long. And we have amazing individuals. Like a few of the ladies in this room have come and done workshops for some of our authors as they're going through the journey, just to motivate them as they're kind of hitting that brink of maybe wanting to shut down. We've got that gladiator to come in and say, hey, nah, you got this. So anthologies are amazing, and just really having a tribe around you, that has been so powerful. Even when you want to write your own story as an individual, when you start out with an anthology, it makes it so much easier to be able to write your own story and your own journey and be able to share. So I invite you all to, if there's authors out there, if there's, it's all about visibility. Okay. Being here on the Authors Network, well, after you get into a book project, I know I've been in a few, I've gotten books in my hand and I'm like, oh, what do I do now? I sat after a particular anthology and I had 100 books in my garage, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm excited. And it took a while to try to figure it out, but we have learned how to figure it out. Your book is your business card. If you want to be a speaker, take that book with you. And you can actually, when you go to be a speaker, you don't have to be a paid speaker. Take those free opportunities, because that is visibility. Bring your book and offer your book in the room. That is going to be something that is going to help you to monetize right there. I mean, and it's amazing. We also have the Authors Corner and Own It. I have the Authors Network in Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine, where we also interview authors. You want to show up everywhere. You want people to see that book all over the place. You want them to be just tired of seeing your face out there and your book out there. But guess what? If they're tired of seeing you, I bet you they got that book in their hand though. Okay, so just show up. And if you got a book in your belly and you're really struggling to figure it out, reach out to me. We've got Girl Powerhouse Publishing. We've got an amazing group of individuals that will help you get to the finish line. So thank you so much, Marisa, for letting me share. And everybody out there, again, I'm here for you. And let's go. Let's get those books in people's hands.
That's it. You said some incredible things. What's the word count for your unsnapped?
Word count is between 1,200 and 1,500. But if you go a little bit over, we're okay with that. So if you go to like 1,800, we're good with that.
Yeah, because once you start, listen, like you said, you could start off with an anthology. That's great because that gets you warmed up, and then once you write that anthology, you realize that this 12 to 1,500 word count is not enough. You actually unleash, you open up the reservoir. Especially for those individuals who are advisors unofficially, how they're the go-to people to give advice. They're the go-to people to get insight. They're the go-to people to get grounded, when they're getting ready to be unsnapped. When you tap into those individuals who have been coaching, who've been mentoring, who've been in unofficial leadership roles, when you unleash that in them, that writing in them, that philosophy that's in them, then it's like, you've done awaken a giant, a sleeping giant. And that's what we want to do. We want to awaken the sleeper that's in, and anyone who's watching, who is putting to question, to self-doubting. We want to awaken that. And just like Teresa said, write your book. And if you're courageous enough, you write it. You get a trusted people, a group of people. I know that some people do pilot, launches of their book to see, get feedback from people to see what their book is about and how that book, how they resonate with the book, to get feedback from it. Or be courageous enough and say, I trust my instincts. I trust what I have to say, and go for it. And so we love it. And just like Tiffany said, you can always reach out to Tiffany, is the editor-in-chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine. And she does, again, personal and physical fitness development. So you want to reach out to her on her projects. You want to reach out to Teresa. You want to, anything that she has said has inspired you, please do so. Be strategic and intentional. We're talking about looking over the past year, talking about being visible. If you're already a published author, we're encouraging you to not sit on your books, because books don't sell themselves. You got to get out there. Like Tiffany said, your book is your business card. You got to get out there and you got to really promote what it is that you're advocating for in your book. And what you're advocating for is really what you talked about in your book. And so I'm going to move on over to Jacqueline Lulu Brown. And share, Jacqueline, you are a multi-published author, just like Tiffany. Share your reflecting, your projecting, share what's on your heart.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone who is tuned in and who's going to watch later. And just my cohorts here. I enjoy being on this platform with you guys. I think when you hit the nail on the head, when you said that there's this sleeping giant, because I started out with being a contributing writer. And before I knew it, I was a contributing writer for 4 different magazines. And then I was in one anthology after the other anthology. And what I realized is that all of the information that I was writing about, 40 years of my career, just every ministry, the professional leadership, executive leadership, leadership in ministry. And I was kind of like, you know what? This is a wealth of information, but it needs to be in one place. It needs to tell a story. And so then, with the majority of my experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, taking and putting all that together, because stories inspire others. It helps others to go on their journey. And before I knew it, I had my own anthology, which is in process, as well as my own book, that I now have to take all of these chapters and all of this information and formulate it to tell the story. So here's just a couple of things. How do you do that? Well, I started with my why, understanding my vision and my purpose. What's my purpose as a consultant, as a coach, as a minister? And I identified that deeper purpose that the book is going to serve. And then I had to ask myself some key questions. Why did I write all these things? What was my why to begin with? And who is it meant to serve? When I put all of this together, what do I want to achieve? Then the other big piece is, when I put it all together, does it align with my passion? And does it resonate with my core values? When people are reading your story, they want to know that this is who you are authentically. So your writing has to resonate your core values, your passions, and your experiences. This is what creates the authenticity that helps maintain your momentum as you're writing. And then I would say clarify your audience. Who are you targeting? And the message. Know the readers that you want to reach. Understand what the benefit to them will be, and what are you trying to help them with? What problem are you helping people solve? And then tailor your language in your writing, in your messaging, to meet those needs. Really take, and this does take, everybody's not going to know how to do that right out of the gate. So as Tiffany stated, you may need a mentor, you may need a coach, you may need help to do that. And map out your content, create that blueprint, develop that detail that actually reflects what you're trying, your key themes, your chapters, and the takeaways. So I would just give a little more around the structure and the organization, because one of the things that will get people discouraged is they put it all together and then it doesn't go anywhere. And then it's just kind of sitting there. And without that type of coaching and mentoring to make sure that as you put it together, it makes sense. So when you're doing that, just go with your flow, but also seek that help. Because what you don't want to do, you don't want to be disappointed with, okay, why is no one reading my book? Why does no one want my book? You want to have those, and I know I got a little mechanical here, but just remember that there is a process. I'm a retired IT executive, so everything is processed. But believe it or not, you can take those processes and apply them to your life, because when you go through that process, your book will be destined for success. Thank you,
Yes, yes.
Marisa.
And you hit a couple of key areas too. Like, so when you're just not about writing the book, it's also too about keywords, right? Categories. And then being intentional, get with the right publisher, making sure that you have, if you have goals, that you have those goals identified so that they can be captured in the journey to your publishing. That's very critically important. Some of the different tools for marketing, you have to have those in place as well, and that goes outside of just writing your book. So you need to make sure that you're not just with a publisher, so especially if you're self-publishing, and you can be with a publisher and still self-publish. You self-publish with being with a publisher, but you also need to make sure that whoever's coaching you, that they're strategists, that they understand strategy, they understand marketing, they understand visibility, and have the ability to support and help you with that. So I'm going to move over to Pastor Durain and say, Pastor Durain, come on, talk to us.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Certainly blessed to be with these amazing women and amazing authors. And I certainly pray that your projects continue and bountiful doors are opening. I'm a sort of a late bloomer. I didn't become an author until I was 60 years old. And I share that. I know what you're thinking, girl, you look 21. I know. Thank you so much. But I said that so you understand there is no time limit on your dreams. The only thing that limits your dreams are your outlooks. So if you feel you want to be an author, girl, be an author. Step out. Don't step out. Jump into the deep. Launch out into the deep. There are a couple of things I wanted to share. And you ask yourself these questions: who, what, where, when, why, and how. Who are you trying to reach? What are you trying to share with them? Where do you want to take them? It needs to be a journey. You need to be taking them somewhere. When do you want to get this out to them? As soon as possible, because they needed it like yesterday. And why do you think they need to know this? Because it's going to make their lives better. And the big question is, how do you do it? You find the right coach, you find the right publisher, you 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 tune in to Own It, Author's Corner. And you seek out some of these wonderful ladies who have already walked through the steps. You know, I have a problem with people say, well, I want to learn by myself. I don't need to learn from other people. That devil is a liar. Yes, you do. You learn from others' mistakes so you don't have to make that mistake. If I have fallen into the pit, sweetie, you don't need to fall into the pit. I'm going to tell you how to build that bridge over the pit. Mm-hmm. There is so much inside of us. When we're telling our stories, you know, we're at a party or something, and people are sitting on the edge of their seat. Something should start going on. Marketing. This is a book. People want to hear what I have to say. And then you put it on paper. One thing I do is I have my phone by me. And when God gives me ideas, all I do is press record. Because if you wait until the morning, that idea that you had is gone. This way, you never miss it. You don't have to worry about trying to type. You just press that record button and then you can come back to it. Now, I'm telling my age, I have a whole lot of those little teeny thin microphones with hours and hours of stuff on it. Well, now I'm writing my life story. And so I'm able to take all of those things that for years I've been putting in there. And now I'm going to write a volume of books. So it's never too late, because what you have to say, the sister sitting next to you needs to hear, because it's going to help her reach her destiny. And that's how we have to look at things and ask God the question, God, who can I help with what I've already been going through, so they don't have to not necessarily make the mistakes that we made, but so their job, their journey might just be a little bit easier, and you may help them to get there a little bit quicker. But the key is you have to start. You have to forgive yourself for the procrastination, because you know that's what we do. Oh, I procrastinated. No, forgive yourself for the procrastination. Jesus said, who the Son set free, he is free indeed. Honey, you are free. Repent and move on. Forgive yourself. It's Christmas time, and you are the gift that keeps on giving. So you give that gift to yourself. Take you a box, put you a journal in that box, and put it under the tree and put a note. This is for my beginning in 2025, and get started. And then you can come on the show and join the rest of us best-selling authors. Amen?
Yes, because you are definitely in the room with international best-selling authors. And so, Pastor Durain, love it. You always close us very, very well and right on top. So these are the three things I want to give as takeaways. Out today's conversation is step outside yourself. Stop, get outside your comfort zone. Get a little awkward, get a little uncomfortable, get a little itchy. I know when I published my first book, as I was driving to the book signing, I had a high level epiphany. I had a Selah moment, like, oh my God, they're going to read this book and they're going to judge me. They're going to see because I write about myself and my journey, because I know that journey. I know that there are people that say you should not talk about yourself, but I'm not like that. And I don't go with the crowd. I actually go the way that I was meant to go. And I have to speak from my own experience, because I know the results of that experience. And I keep it transparent. I keep it true. Step outside of yourself. It was the most scary moment because I had already published. My story was out there and you know that social media, the public not always nice in how they respond to you, but you have to own it. You have to own who you are and settle in knowing that no matter what, you're not perfect. You're never going to be perfect, but you're enough. That you yourself are enough. And if people are coming to you and asking you, and just like Pastor Durain said, if they're sitting on the edge of your seat while you're talking, you have something to say. And you have something to say that's worth listening to. And I'm going to tell you, it was countless people that would not post on the mainstream how my words encouraged them, my words inspired them. But you want to know what they were doing? They were coming to me in Messenger. They were messaging me privately and saying, Marisa, your words encourage me, Maurice. And I had to allow that to echo in the back as I drove up to that book signing. I had to remind myself, and as David had to encourage himself, I had to encourage myself all the way up. And that's what I say to you. Step outside yourself. Listen to what the world is saying to you in regards to when you're listening, when you're talking and people are listening to what you're saying. You got to take that and then stop being cautious. And I know that, you know, we got to have checks and balances. And sometimes we get so rigid that we get all choked up, boring, uneventful, unexciting. Stop being cautious. Allow your wings to spread out and soar, because there's a lot of folks that don't want you to soar, but there's a lot of those same folks that once you soar, they see themselves in you. They see it as if she could do it, and trust me, I'm just going to keep it real in this season. I love getting older. I don't know why people don't want to get older, because when you get older, you get so grounded. I'm going to tell you that as you step out, and don't worry about people trying to replicate what you're doing, because can't nobody be you but you, baby. And so let me tell you something. They will watch what you do and think, because you do it, because you're operating in your gifting, you're operating in your calling, and it comes to you so easy. It comes to you with ease because you were designed for it. They will think and tell themselves in their minds that they can go and do it just as, because you do it so easy. And you can watch them because you can, and you don't have to compete. You don't have to be in threat. You don't have to feel threatened, because they will go and try to do what you do. That's a compliment. It's not a takeaway. It's a compliment for you to take away, that you've done it so well that people want to be like you, that people want to do what you do, that they don't have their own creativity, because if you did not open up your mouth, they would not see themselves as being capable enough to do it. And so stop being comfortable, stop being cautious. And sometimes you got to stop listening to other people. Be adventurous. Be adventurous. And I love Pastor Durain because she is a constant reminder of how you can be sassy and classy, love the Lord like crazy, and be sexy and confident all in one. And I'm thankful for her because she helps to reduce that background noise that says, oh, you better be safe. You better not do that. You're going to offend somebody. You're going to do that. No, because God did not do that to us. He us and wired us to be just who we are. And what we're saying today, and we're encouraging you to be, is go for it. Stop being lukewarm. Be fired up and go for it. We love you so very much, and we want to see you do great and amazing things. And we are all here to reset with your heart and getting your heart and your health right. Tiffany getting you in shape, tapping us and getting rid of stress. Lulu helping you to be radical and sending to the next dimensions. And Durain is helping you to just be all of who you were meant to be. She's the unleashed, liberated. And what did you say that your word is? Elevating, expanding, all of that good stuff. And we're here to support you. We want to be your tribe if you need a tribe. We want to be there for you and to help you do everything that you want to do and really, really thrive in 2025. We love you. God bless you. We are out.